Okay, let's move on.
We should be done now.
Yes, we should be.
We have to regroup and do something funnier.
Okay, there you go.
And slightly less
gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't hope too much.
I know.
Okay.
I told you I was just watching Game of Thrones. There's nothing to be too gross. But I'm working on it.
There we are.
Actually, I watched something called the 50 Worst Movies
And
in history. I think Ed Wood had 4 of them.
oh, sure, he absolutely had to.
And they were just
Horrible.
There were some scenes with lots of naked ladies in it, which you would think most guys would go, ooh.
Cool.
Now these, all right, they did 50 of them in about an hour. So it was like very quick.
Okay.
No.
Wasn't interested.
None of them, no.
First, I wasn't too interested. Then I got very interested.
I love it. And most of Peter Graves made one of them with his marvelous emotive acting.
He was my friend, man. No, that was Lawrence Fishburne III. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Was it?
No.
It was Clarence Williams.
The third.
Mod Squad.
Yes. Very
TV
good.
show.
Nice.
Google it.
Are you going to start this thing?
So, in honor of Peggy Lipton.
And her gorgeous outfits.
They were, by the way. Do you realize that the women who grew up our age, right?
Yep.
Are now grandmas.
Yes.
Yes. There is no grandma in the making now that will ever be as cool as the women we grew up with.
No, there will
no.
It
They just can't happen.
No.
For one, the cars were cooler that they hung out with.
That's true.
And the costuming was exquisite, I might add.
Yes.
I don't want to see it today. No. Maybe.
It feels bad.
No.
Even when they're over 18, it feels bad because they're way too young.
No, I mean on them.
Oh, yeah. Well,
although I still have a special
I
place
can't find it in my size, if that's what you're alluding
for cut-off jeans.
Yes.
Where the pockets hang out just a little at the bottom.
Yep.
Ah, those were the days. What was I doing now? Oh, like, subscribe, and follow us, would you? If you do those 3 things, we'll be happy as clams and may not talk all of this stupid stuff.
That's not going to...
But I wouldn't, Vegas over-under's bad. So like, subscribe, follow. You can leave comments wherever you find us. And if you do find us and we're not at home, could you call our wives to come get us?
Please, they'll know.
Please. If you have something longer, a missive, a story you'd like to share, a question, comment, conundrum, or snark that is wittily witten, Wabbit season.
We're hunting comments.
The TITR at netradio.network. Thank you.
This is True, Really News with Scott Combs and Tony Vercanis. All the news you're about to hear is true.
Really?
As far as you know.
Well put.
Thank you.
This from Newser.
That was longer than most of our early shows.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Adrian Simancas was only in a whale's mouth for around a second, but it felt like much, much longer.
Well, there goes my story.
Oh, sorry about that, Chief.
That's okay. No, you're not. I can tell.
On a kayaking trip with his father in the Strait
of humpback whale, right?
Yeah. On a kayaking trip with his father in the Strait of Magellan off southern Chile to celebrate his 23rd birthday, Simancas and
lives on from the humpbacks on down.
His kayak were briefly swallowed
by the kayak he darn near swallowed down whole
by a surfacing humpback whale. He escaped unharmed. The incident was captured on video from a camera attached to his father's kayak. In the video, his father, just a few feet away, can be heard encouraging Simancas to stay calm. Stay calm. Well, it sounded from inside the whale. Simancas was...
What?
And then it echoed.
Over and over.
Simancas was able to reach his father's kayak and they made it back to shore. I thought I was dead, Simancas tells the AP. I thought it had eaten me, that it had swallowed me. He tells the BBC they'd been kayaking for around...
Which end did he come out?
2 hours the front. He went out the same way he went in. When he felt something hit him from behind, closing in on me and sinking me, I managed to see a dark blue and white color. I felt a slimy texture which touched my face. Well, that was his tongue.
It's date night.
At that moment, I closed my eyes, expecting an impact. But I felt more like I was flipped over, not hit. And that's when I lay down. He says the brief... It's like...
meltdown.
I'm done. Yeah. He says in the brief moment he was in the whale's mouth, he thought about the possibility of surviving inside the whale like Pinocchio.
Dear Lord, let me be a bowel obstruction.
It wasn't, but Pinocchio was never in a whale. Geppetto was in the whale.
I know. I don't care.
He says that...
Oh, what's his duck was in a big old fish?
Who?
That
feller from the Old Testament?
Yeah.
Lance something.
No.
Oh.
Damon.
Lance Link.
Secret chimp. Oh, boy.
He says...
That you'll have to Google.
He says after he spat it out...
And Mata Harry.
And he roasted the surface... But it wasn't a predator, but was worried it could do the same thing to his father's kayak, whether out of curiosity or just play. I'll partially swallow these things. Tells the BBC he's reflected on the experience and decided to appreciate it. Not only to see how to get something positive out of something negative, but to see it in its entirety as what it is. Which,
I would have worried more about getting something me out of something it.
That's my point entirely, which is a unique experience, an encounter with wildlife in a region at the end of the world. For his next adventure, Adrian plans to get a basking shark to swallow him.
I would suggest that's probably don't get like a whale shark or a great white.
No.
Because they don't just swallow.
Yeah, they chew. Basking sharks don't want you. They're big enough to swallow you, but they don't like you.
How do they know? They've never met me.
They eat, well, they won't like how you taste. And let's face it, and we must confess, I have tasted you.
Was I there?
I think I licked you. I think I licked your hand.
No, that would be yes.
I have tasted you.
I have so... Hang on, Old Testament guy in whale.
Jacob and the magic bean.
No, Jonah, you bozo.
Oh, okay.
Bozo?
Bozo.
Wow, that was painful.
Next.
I don't know what to do next. All right, as long as we're doing strange things, Somerville, South Carolina, there are lights in the forest. Like a lantern, except you can't see the lantern. Get what I mean?
Okay.
They're kind of strange and creepy.
Okay.
It happens along a short stretch of Sheep Island Road.
Would that be Streechy? Well, strange and creepy. Streechy.
No, it'd be Crange.
Oh, yeah, I like that better, Crange.
Yeah, that would work better. Where was I? It happens along a short stretch of Sheep Island Road on the outskirts of town. Of course it does. It's always on the outskirts of town, and there's usually a car running in one direction and a garage filled with, I don't know, chainsaws. And
they're all running.
All of them, car and chainsaws, and they always pick the chainsaws. We make bad choices when we're in horror movies. Where was I? Anyway, it's along where a railroad once ran. Since the 50s and maybe earlier, those traveling on the road report seeing unexplainable floating orbs of light. Floating light orbs.
Ooh.
They're often colored a pale green or blue and can appear on the road or within the surrounding trees.
Ooh.
But that's not all.
That's not?
Some who have seen the lights have also reported their cars suddenly shaking violently, hearing disembodied whispers, and even seeing ghostly shapes flitting about with lights.
And orbs.
Oh, no, with the light, sorry.
Okay.
The spookiness doesn't end down the road, however. Those living in the area have experienced other seemingly paranormal things, like stuff.
And nonsense.
Doors slamming shut on their own.
Pirate ships appearing on the horizon.
Takes all the frickin' fun out of it. I mean, if you can't slam the door.
Yeah, right.
Did that once to a nun that ticked me off in school.
And?
Don't do that the second time. Yeah. Sounds of footsteps that come from empty rooms. Objects moving by themselves. That wouldn't be us.
Well, a car can do that.
And
if you kind of forget.
I can barely do that. Pets and wildlife suddenly becoming disturbed and frightened. It sounds like something ghastly or more like ghostly. Just change the A to an O. And the locals know exactly what it is. Or at least they have a theory.
Okay.
According to Somerville, South Carolina folklore, them strange hauntings are the work of a grieving widow who lost her hubby in a railway accident.
Oh. Poor thing.
Suppose his name was Casey Jones?
Bless her heart.
Today, I don't know how to take that now whenever anyone says it.
I know.
To this day, they say she follows the tracks of the old railroad, holding a ghostly lantern, looking for her lost love. So, as always happens, some scientists heard about it. Susan Huff.
Did he ever return? No, he never returned, and his fate is still unlearned.
That would be Boston.
Oh.
Yeah, the MTA?
Yeah. No, sorry.
Google it.
Wrong
Is
state.
that Peter, Paul, and Mary?
I think so.
Or was it the four what's-their-ducks?
Kingsman?
Yeah, one of those. Oh. If you just Google MTA.
Yeah.
Can't think of a guy's name down this song. Thank you.
John Denver.
No, he was still in the Dyna when that was a hit.
Well, you said you couldn't think of a guy's name. I thought of one right away.
No, the guy in the song.
Oh, yeah. I have no idea who it is.
Do you have Google? Chop, chop.
All right, I'm on it.
Susan Huff is a scientist, seismologist, works for the U.S. Geological Survey. She recently, that's kind of like the Office of, what is it? The Office of Executive in World War II for the British. It was their spy agency.
Oh, sure. It was the Kingston Trio, apparently.
Really?
We were close.
Really?
Charlie.
Yeah, there we go. Anyway, Susan recently published a study in which she reviewed reports of the Somerville lights. Research respective, you know. Her reaction was,
You really caught me off guard with that.
Imagine her surprise. No, the scientist believes there's no ghostly widow haunting the town. Pshaw.
Oh.
Which is an old saying for... Instead, she believes that the blue and green glowing orbs are earthquake lights. Let's be honest, you don't want to be driving your earthquake in the dark without your lights.
That's true. I've never done that, but it sure sounds dangerous.
Earthquake lights are a strange light phenomenon that may happen before, during, or after the ground rumbles. Well, that narrows it down. But you need ground rumbling to have this work. They may appear as spheres, sparks, flashes, streams, or virtually any other imaginable shape of a disembodied light.
There's an electromagnetic field that is being...
I'd like mine shaped like Raquel Welch, please.
Excited.
They're not a new occurrence either. The oldest known recorded instance of creepy lights appearing during an earthquake comes from Japan in 869.
Good Lord,
AD.
that widow's old.
I am not doing BCE or whatever it is.
Foreign.
Despite... Well, you know, they get on a boat, and sooner or later they end up here. Despite their best efforts, scientists haven't been able to explain why or how earthquake lights happen because, well, honestly, it doesn't pay. Some believe they were formed by ionized oxygen released from the cracking ground, but in her study, Huff puts out a competing theory. She says the lights are the result of trapped gas. I don't think I've ever...
Is that like the swamp gas stuff thing that goes
like
on?
methane, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
Being released from the ground during an earthquake.
Okay.
Why am I picturing Dumb and Dumber and the lighter? That gas then gets ignited by a spark caused by static electricity, rocks rubbing together, or just old railroad equipment. Similar strange lights have been reported around abandoned railroads worldwide. Somerville has just such a decaying railway. It's possible that an earthquake could cause stones to impact with the railroad's metal structures. That strikes the sparks. That ignites the gas. We get light with no lantern around.
Okay.
But hold them horses a yorn.
Hey, you two, stop it. That's what I get for having a percher on with a pony.
Are there earthquakes in Somerville, South Carolina?
There are earthquakes in Minnesota.
Well, as it turns out, they are, yes. Tiny, itty-bitty, teeny-weeny earthquakes. They're just baby earthquakes.
Yes.
All the adults go to California, and if they would do their job right...
we would be much better off.
Oregon to be coastfront. Where was I now? August 1959, 4.4 on the Richter scale, about 2 miles away from Sheep Island Road. Coincidentally, reports of the ghost lights cropped up around the same time then. Similar incidents happened twice more by the end of 1960. According to Huff, and she's a scientist, and as we've been told often of late,
yes,
we must always follow the science and believeth it.
Unless, of course, the scientist is crooked. You know, if you ever want to have fun, hey, let's just do it right now. I'm going to Google science fraud. Hang on. What? What happened to you? Why can't I hear you?
I left.
Dink.
I was hearing an echo.
Science fraud. Oh, my.
Are we starting in Wuhan at all?
Oh, my.
Are there pages and pages?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh. And it returns so many so fast. And it's just kind of hilarious. When you
Don't you hate it when your computer doesn't have to think about it? Hopefully Somerville might experience frequent tiny earthquakes. Most of the time, people wouldn't even know it.
Yep.
But they could be enough to release gas
or shake a car.
Soil. Now because she's a scientist, of course, and we must believe the science because science is, and we mustn't question the science
ever,
which seems to be the antithesis of
science. Yeah.
She admits she has no hard data to back up the theory.
She's just guessing.
Well, once again, if you're going to actually go there and test it, you need money for that, and that's just not in the forefront of money-making science. She suggests performing tests to measure gas emissions and looking for active seismic faults in the area.
Yeah, the money-making side of science is in claiming that we're all about to die for one reason or another.
Pick one.
Yeah.
And we all must stay in our own homes.
Yes.
And elect stupid people. Well, they got part of it working.
This from allthatisinteresting.com via Patrick Reed, our man in Liverpool.
We'll be the judge of that.
In November 2024, amateur fossil hunter Peter Benecke was searching the beaches at the cliffs of Stevens in eastern Denmark when he split open a huge chunk of chalk and spotted a bizarre fossil inside. It was an official NHL hockey puck. No, it wasn't.
That would be bizarre.
Yeah, it would. Benecke took the fossil to the Geomuseum Faxe, where the sea lily expert Jan Jagd, I suppose, examined it and concluded that it was a collection of sea lilies regurgitated by a marine creature, perhaps a bottom-dwelling shark roughly 66 million years ago. Yes, he found puke.
He found Wommit?
Yes. The scientific world has been positively abuzz.
Technically, if we were German, to be Wallace and Gromit.
About that pile of fossilized fish vomit, they've been just going crazy. This is the most famous piece of puke in the world, says Dr. Jesper Milan, the curator of Denmark's Geomuseum Faxe. The pile of vomit is providing valuable insight into who was eating who during the Cretaceous period.
Why does that sound like a bad song? Who's eating who? We'd have to get the Fine Young Cannibals to record it.
Absolutely. Oh, good Lord. Yes.
The raw and the uncooked. They like their people sushi'd.
That's right. Like they're mermaids.
Yep. I like the Fine Young Cannibals. They were kind of fun.
I did too. I really like their biggest hit song.
Which was?
She Drives Me Crazy.
That's it exactly. When you think of the word Birkenstocks, what do you think of?
Fish vomit.
Really?
Well, it's Nordic. Fish vomit was Nordic.
It's German.
Birkenstock?
Yeah.
Well, Nordics are just northern Germans, he said in
Sure, let's go with that.
It's true.
They're comfy. They're thought of in our day as being for yuppies only.
Oh, boy.
If you wanted to be... I can't think of any comparison these days. Sorry.
What are
they wanted their sandals to be considered art.
Well,
and it got all the way up to the German Federal Court of Justice.
Failing that, they should be good shoes.
Birkenstock, who say they've been making these shoes since 1774, filed a lawsuit against 3 competitors who sold sandals that were very similar.
Okay.
Let's be honest, they're sandals. How much different are they going to get? The shoe manufacturer claims it's like make the shoe, take away all the leather. There you go. The shoe except for a couple of strips. The shoe manufacturer claimed its sandals are, and I'm quoting now, copyright protected works of applied art that may not be imitated.
Did they happen to copyright it that way?
I have no idea. Under Deutsch law, works of art enjoy stronger, longer-lasting intellectual property protections than mere consumer products like, I don't know, shoes.
Crocs.
The company asked for, and I just can't get into plastic shoes. Sorry.
I'm wearing foam Croc slippers right now. They're great. Well, they're not slippers. They're thongs. Flip-flops. Very comfortable.
Never getting that image out of my head now. The company asked for an injunction to stop its competitors from making copycat sandals, those rascals.
Go get them.
And they wanted the court to order them to recall and destroy all those copycats.
That's right. Take them off people's feet if you have to.
Identified in the court statement, but I'm guessing most of them went.
Yeah, right. What?
So the highest court. Honest to God, this thing went through. In the United States, it went through a lower court.
Okay.
And they said, yep, that's absolutely right. The regional court in Cologne said, you bet, they're works of art. The appeals court said, the
not
regional
so
courts
fast.
are idiots. No, they're not. So off we go. It's one apiece. The Federal Court of Justice now would wrangle with this difficult case.
Why not just go for a design patent? Then you'd be
Basically,
fine.
in its ruling, it said they're shoes and they're comfy. What else do you want to know?
Yeah.
They said a product can't be copyrighted if, quote, technical requirements, rules, or other constraints determine the design. And honestly, sandals, they do. You got to have something on the sole, and then something to hold to your feet.
Yeah, but they're using what? Cork? Well, that's about the only unique item they're using.
Poor little monkey. For the copyright protection of a work of applied art, as for all other types of work, the level of design must not be too low, the court wrote. For copyright protection, a level of design must be achieved that reveals individuality. The High Court. You know what? Next time we come here, I have other bizarre cases that had to go before a judge.
Oh, okay. That'll be cool.
It's sad and disturbing. Mostly sad.
Distributing. No.
Sad turbing.
A sad turbing.
This is true, really news. Send email to TITR@netradio.network.